Welcome to Building Self-Belief's career podcasts. The purpose of these podcasts is to give young people a true insight into all kinds of careers and professions. In the interviews, we hear about the highs and lows of working life and how people have overcome any difficulties to make the very best of every situation. Young people will also get some brilliant advice to support their future career success. Hello Andrea, so I'd just like to introduce Andrea McGuigan from Business Durham, and we're here to talk about careers. So would you like to, well, I just thought we'll start off with telling us what you do and why you do it.
Yes, thanks Christine. Hello, as Christine says, Andrea McGuigan, and I work for Business Durham. That's the economic development arm of Durham County Council, and my role is business engagement and account manager. So I specifically work with businesses in County Durham in the north of the county to support their growth and productivity. And it's been a long career path. I've been working in public sector for the last 17 years, doing a very similar job. Started out working as a marketing advisor, helping companies to produce marketing plans and strategies. And from then I worked on a couple of ERDF projects, that's European Regional Development Fund, and those are government funded, European government funded projects to support businesses to grow. And from then, when the councils transitioned into one county council, I started working locally with businesses to help them grow, working with them on plans, working with them on, again, in funding, finding suitable premises, finding the right talent for their business, and supporting young people as well through various programs that we use.
Could you tell us then, what do you think is one of your biggest success stories then, where you supported a business?
Christine, it's really difficult because I've helped lots of businesses, and it's not just me. It's everybody else in the business support network. So if somebody's looking to buy some land, and I think we've got a lot of land out there. So if we can help in any way to get that done quickly and efficiently and get them funding to build the buildings. Other businesses that I've supported could be very small. And, you know, the fact that they've got a little bit of funding to help them do something is, that's probably one of my
Oh, I've lost you for a second there, Andrea.
Jobs varied. I work with lots of sizes of businesses, lots of different types of businesses. And, you know, the good thing about it is most of the businesses that Business Durham interact with are still surviving. And that's because they've got access to lots of help and support. Durham, I think companies and people, communities are really geared up to support each other. I think it's an excellent place to start a business. And I think there's a lot of people out there wanting people to survive in business as well. So you've got that great, it's like a big hug, isn't it? It's a big hug of people who want to help and support you.
We were just talking about some of the grants that are available now to kind of to restart business after COVID. And, you know, I was trying to say to people that although we're getting a 75% grant, that I'll pretty much be spending almost all of that money within County Durham. So it's not just us getting some money, it's actually regenerating, using that money to regenerate everybody's business, because you feel that, you know, that sense of collectivity almost.
Yeah, I mean, we do try and encourage businesses to trade locally, and that's one of the jobs that I try to do in when I work with businesses or in the Do Business Network, to try and make other businesses aware that there is a great opportunity for supplies and services on the doorstep. So not to look outside of the county first of all if they're looking for someone to supply a service or a goods, some goods, then to look locally first. And I think that's an important aspect of the county council's procurement team as well. So when we're releasing contracts out for companies to tender for, we encourage those companies to look locally for their labour and their supplies. So that's really important.
Can we go back, Andrea, to why did you get into marketing then? Why marketing as a...
Well, first, I'll give you a potted history of my career. So when I was young, when I was at school, and I was doing my O-levels, not GCSEs, I'm not old, and when I was doing O-levels, one of my teachers told me that my chosen career path, which was tourism at the time, that wasn't the right path for me, and that I should concentrate on my academic qualifications And to be quite honest, I really wanted to work in tourism, so I sort of didn't listen to the teacher, which is a really naughty thing to say, but I actually went straight after school, after I did my O-levels. Instead of doing A-levels, I went to college, to New College Durham, and did a BTEC in business studies with a financial side as well. And because the tourism courses in those days were really difficult to get onto. So I thought, well, I'll do it the other way. I'll get a business background first. So I did that and got my first job in a tourism organisation, funnily enough, called Northumbria Tourist Board. And that was a pleasant, I think I spent 11 years in the tourism sector, working basically in looking after accommodation and attractions. And the love of marketing started when I was working with these small businesses and thinking I could really help these a lot more. And I think when you're in marketing, you've actually got to be quite an outgoing person, and you've got to be able to talk to people. And I think you develop that as you get into working life. And I was quite fortunate. I was quite a chatty person, as you can see. And my boss at the time, who was a marketing manager, said, "Why don't you do a marketing qualification?" And I thought, this was in the 80s, and I thought, yeah, I could do that, but I'm working full time. And I'd just been married at the time, so that was a long time ago. And so I did 2 nights a week for 3 years. I did Chartered Institute of Marketing degree with New College Durham. So I did it online. Wasn't online. We didn't have an online tuition. I did it outside of working hours.
Yeah.
First 3 years of my married life, and I got my degree in marketing, and I got promoted as well at the tourist board. And I was doing. I got into sort of the travel trade and working with coach operators, tour operators, overseas contacts, and I had a really fantastic job. And then a job cropped up as a marketing manager in a shopping centre, a well-known shopping centre in Newcastle called Eldon Square, which I'm sure everybody has heard of. And I applied for the job, and with my qualifications and experience and background, I got the job. And that meant that I was then in charge of a £1.5 million marketing budget and 13 staff. And those staff, some of those staff actually are still working there in customer services, the gift vouchers, all that kind of thing.
I think what's interesting, Andrea, is that, I took the traditional route. I did A-level, did my degree, did my professional qualification. And I think what you're showing there is just as valid, if not more so, to get yourself a qualification by the time you're 18 and then work and then do, and if you don't feel ready to do your degree at 18, it's not too late. It doesn't mean you never do it. You can do it. There's different routes, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I would say you're absolutely right, Christine. And I think I really I enjoyed college, don't get me wrong, but I didn't really want to go to university. It wasn't in my head. I wanted to get a career straight away, actually. And then when I started working, I realised actually I can learn more by taking on these night schools. And after that marketing one, I did a comms one as well. So I got a degree in communication management, and that was working with Eldon Square. And I've continued really up until the last few years. I've always continued to develop outside of work.
I think, you see, when I was teaching, you got in new classes, there was loads of changes, and I lived all over. I lived in Nottingham, I taught in London, and I came back to the Northeast, had lots of different jobs. And I kind of, but I just wanted something different before I retired. Couldn't see myself doing another. I'd already done 20 years. I couldn't see myself doing another 20. And that's for me why I made that change and adapted and used the skills I'd learned to do something different.
Yeah. I think for me, I think always in the back of my mind, I always wanted to help people, whether it was young people, whether it was elderly, whether it was,
Well, I was going to say, what about your voluntary work? You do voluntary work as well, don't you?
Yeah, I do. So as well as working, I do run a Girl Guiding Group Rainbows group for 5 to 7 year olds. So I run that. So I've got my own little group of 15 young girls who we're doing Zoom calls at the moment, which is quite fun. I also am chair of governors at a local primary school and have been involved in that school since, well, for the last 20 years, at least, with even more so as a governor and a chair the last couple of years, and previous to that, probably 10 years. So I work quite a lot with young people. And obviously I'm a trustee of Building Self-Belief as well, which is one of the reasons why I know Christine. And obviously a strong supporter of what that charity is there to do. And it's to work with young people to help them build their confidence and their self-esteem. And, we would talk about our 2 sons a little bit. And I know we saw that when our sons were going through school. It's difficult, and it's even more difficult now because of COVID and what it's done to education. So yeah, I'm keen to support any young people out of work as well as in my role.
I was thinking as well, the other thing about voluntary work is that even if your work itself isn't quite what you wanted or quite fulfilling for you, there's other avenues that you can take, isn't there, that out of work that you are more fulfilling as well, or can eventually lead into a different career route if you want it to. So
I think you're right, Christine. I think for me, obviously helping people was number one, and I still do that, and I've done that from day one in my job. It's always been about helping businesses, but that's why my voluntary work, we're helping young people, which was probably that's the fulfillment side, is working with young people, and it's something that's always been part of my life, but never really wanted to be a teacher, never really wanted to go into traditional roles, but actually doing what I do love. So I enjoy the job I do, and it's helping people, and I really do enjoy that. But I also enjoy, the voluntary side, which is something that I'm more passionate about. So the both of them fit well together.
Because what I was thinking as well, I mean, I've had people say to me that, oh, but you've made like a real difference in the job you've done, whereas they feel they've just kind of worked and that's it. So I think that's quite an interest. So although there's certain sectors where you don't make loads of money, then you kind of get a different kind of fulfillment out of it. And voluntary work, you earn no money.
Yeah.
But there's still that sense that you're doing something for the greater good, which I think is a nice way of paying back anything that, that there's ways, isn't there, of it's not just about money, that it's beyond that, where if you want to, there's ways of getting out there and really helping people, genuinely helping people.
There is. I mean, County Durham has a volunteer sort of online volunteer group where you can actually go out and do some volunteering in a particular sector. So it isn't just with young people. It could be for the environment. It could be with elderly. It could be just doing some community work. But yeah, I mean, you're very fortunate if your hobby turns into a job. You're very fortunate, but and that's where a lot of startups come from. Something that was either a hobby or an interest, turns into a career. But if not, you can still fulfill yourself by actually doing the voluntary work. So yeah, either way is great.
That's been brilliant, Andrea. Have you got any? I think we pretty much covered it, but any final bits of advice then?
I think it is just about, one path doesn't fit all in terms of your career. So, just whatever it is that you're doing and whatever you love to do, follow it and access the support. People out there are there to help you. And once you leave the school environment, you can access so much more. It's not, you're out of that sort of, like you say, out of that environment. Your fledgling business idea can grow into reality. Just tap into the resources that are there.
Right, that's brilliant. Thank you very much for your time today.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Very much. Thank you for joining us today. If you're interested in learning more about other careers, please go to our website at buildingselfbelief.org, where you can find many more examples of great career paths to potentially take. If you need any advice about anything we've discussed in the podcast, please get in touch. Our purpose is to support young people whenever we can.